How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at a bass for once, because I don't think I've actually reviewed a bass yet. So without further ado, the Squier Affinity Bronco. Now I'm no stranger to Affinities, and to be honest, all the ones I've tried have been great. The very early ones were a little bit ropey, but there's nothing that you couldn't make better. In the last couple of years, these have been replaced with the Sonic series, but essentially they are just Affinities with a different branding for some reason. Probably because Affinity had a bad reputation. But as with all these budget Squiers, they're fantastic modding platforms, and, you know, the body works, the neck works. What more do you need? Whether you want to make it something that's incredible, or whether you're just starting out on modding and want something inexpensive to start with. So let's talk specs. The body's agathis, the neck's maple, the fretboard's maple. It's a short scale length at 30 inches, comfortable C-shaped profile, 38mm nut, 9.5 inch radius, 19 jumbo frets, single coil pickup, volume and tone controls, 2 saddle chrome bridge, and little baby tuners. These were available in both this Torino red and black, both with a white scratch plate. And that's about it. Now the interesting thing I learned about these is that the pickup isn't specifically a bass pickup, it's just a 6-pole single coil strap pickup. The good news is that there's enough room in the cavity underneath where you can install pretty much anything you want, except for a Music Man pickup. There's enough space there for a humbucker. There's any number of things you could do. You could leave it pretty much as is and put twin hot rail in, or you could put in a lipstick pickup, or you could very easily put in P-bass pickup. Whatever you want to do. Obviously, anything other than a standard single coil pickup is going to require a different scratch plate, or cutting out the one you've got, but aside from that, easy peasy. And it's really easy to get your hands on an aftermarket scratch plate. They're pretty readily available on eBay and Amazon and places like that. I picked this up last year for £80 from a bassist friend, and I really enjoy it. The bass guitar was the first instrument I ever loved when I was 15, and that was in 2001. And I started out on a Squier Precision, which was actually my mum's, and she still got that. And I've never felt the need to upgrade to a Fender. Squiers just work brilliantly, and this is honestly no different. It's a lot of fun having a short scale bass because they're smaller, so you sort of feel like you can just pick them up whenever. This one's small, nice and easy. Short scale is also nice for when you've been playing guitar a lot, and switching over to a bass just feels like a bit of a reach. This is a nice middle ground. This example is bone stock, and I'm not actually feeling a huge desire to make any changes to it. I quite enjoy playing it as it is. It records nicely, and as you'll hear in a bit, it sounds pretty good as well. Even these funny little tuners seem quite stable, and I'm used to the huge open gear ones. When it comes to designs from the 60s, I do tend to gravitate towards the reds. They look like they're from the 60s. For example, the Heartwood Daytona that I reviewed. They just have a cool vibe. There's a couple of things I could easily do to this. Obviously I could change the pickup, but as I've said, I don't really need to. The barrel knobs are pretty cool, and they go with the guitar. The bridge leaves a little to be desired because it is just a 2-saddle bridge, and I do like to be able to intonate things properly, which is why I'm not too keen on the Telecaster barrel bridges. As you can tell, the bridge is just pressed steel, so it could probably benefit from a heftier, high-mass bridge, but finding something that matches these holes is probably going to be a little bit difficult. Additionally, there's nothing on the back, so you could string through if you wanted to change the bridge. I'm not usually a fan of unfinished maple fretboards, but this one's not turned green with use yet, which is good. And there's a very thin satin finish on the neck, which feels really smooth. The Affinity Bronco was built in Indonesia between 1998 and 2023, which is a good quarter of a century of production. And then it was superseded by the Sonic series. I've got a Sonic series Mustang, and to be honest, it feels exactly the same as my Affinity Mustangs, so I don't think there is actually any real difference. Possibly the wood that the body's made of. And that's it. There's not much more to say about this because it is a really, really simple instrument. It's great for beginners because simplicity. And as I mentioned, it's a great platform for modding because there's a lot of space on here, so if you're handy with a router or a chisel, then go nuts, do whatever you want with the cavities. I've seen a few people do some quite interesting modifications with them. So let's see how it sounds. As you can hear, it's a pretty capable little bass. It does bass noises, and if you need it to do anything more than that, then you're asking way too much. I think whenever I saw these brand new in the market when they were still being made, they were about £180, and that seems to be what they're going for in the Sonic series as well. The second-hand market on these tends to fluctuate a little bit, so as I said, I got this for 80 quid. I'd probably say second-hand top out about 110 maybe, but don't go any further than that because you're getting close to the Sonic series prices and you may as well just get a new one. There's not really any downsides to this because the price point means that everything that it does is great as long as it is a bass, which it is. Now, while I do have a lot of guitars, I don't have that many bass guitars. This was my 10th, which is interesting because I started out on bass, so you'd expect that I had more of these. But I think that there's not as many things that I'm asking from a bass sound. I really like the sort of the 70s subby sound, and this is good for getting the more rattly stuff. So great for punk and also really good for indie as well. Probably wouldn't say it's great for metal because downtuning a short scale means that things are going to get a little bit flabby. Because obviously downtuning on a short scale means that there's not very much tension, so the strings just flop around. So what do you think? Have you got one? Do you want one? I like them. I'd recommend one. If you've never tried one, go try one. They're fun. You'll probably be quite pleasantly surprised. While I was editing this video, I actually realised that this is my second Squier Bronco, because I used to have the Bats Maru from the Hello Kitty range, and they were built between 2006 and 2009 along with the first run of Hello Kitty Squier Strats. And I got that for £80, but I didn't really gel with it because I'm not really into cartoony things, and the scratch plate was a little bit too tacky for my liking. It was a capable bass, I just decided to swap it for a Fender Teleacoustic years ago, and I think that was a good choice. Although the downside is, while I bought it for £80, they go for about 400 now, so I'm kicking myself a little bit that I didn't get a better deal on it. The Hello Kitty stuff wasn't as sought after at the time. And yes, I do have one of the Hello Kitty Squier Strats as well, although technically I bought it for my wife. So there we have it. Short video this week because there's not much you can say about a Bronco. They're small, they're fun, they're cheap, play one. So I'll end it there today. My album of the week this week is First Ditch Effort by NoFX. I'm recommending that one because Fat Mike's bass work on that album is incredible. I would say that First Ditch Effort is their best album in my opinion because it's very introspective, it's very intricate, and every single song is incredible. And Fat Mike is an extremely underrated bassist. So as usual, thanks for getting this far into the video. I really appreciate it. See you in the next one.